Is the dash line plus excess. So this is what we call our sew side. Okay, because it only has 1/4 of an inch. All right. And in our old patterns, that's the only way to tell where a sew side is, because we didn't used to write it on there. All right. So that particular piece, if we're looking at this is a triangle, and so I know that that's my section 3. All right. This one here is section 2, and the sew side for this is SSR, and the sew side for SSR is this side, and it's actually written on there. So I'm going to stack it just like that, okay, because I want my sew side stacked together, all right? And then these 3 right here are for section 1, so those are going to be stacked like that, right? And then I'm going to...
Those are what the stacking diagrams are then.
Huh?
I was putting the stacking diagrams in the... Oh, you
Yeah.
don't know what I'm talking
Yes, that's what your stacking diagram is.
Oh,
Okay?
I get it.
All right, so it's all in order of what you're going to sew it now, okay? So this is for section 1, section 2, and section 3,
Okay.
right? So now we're going to pick this up, and section 1 always gets flipped wrong side up, and we're going to pull the paper clips off of it. Then we're going to take the whole stack, and I'm going to put glue on the back side of this. And we're going to put this on, and we're going to cover. We're going to lay it right in there like that. So the idea here is that we have fabric. If you look at this wonderful little bag here, I knew there I should have stopped and got my stuff. I'm going to steal Gretchen's tools here. So see that area right there out to the dash line? And then you have to have it covered all in there. Does that make sense? So there's section 1, and you have to be past the solid line over to the dash line. So if I held this up to a light and I looked, I could see that I had fabric underneath there. All right? All right. So now we're going to take the next piece, and we're going to put it on here like this. I'm going to take this one, and we're going to do the same exact thing. Position it.
And you're gluing the wrong side, is that correct?
The wrong side. The very first piece is wrong side of the fabric to the wrong side of the paper. And it doesn't matter whose paper piecing you're doing. That's just the way it's set up, unless they're sewing on the top of the paper. But most people sew on the bottom of the paper now. And you don't want to use a lot of glue, but if you're using cotton like this, I call this a heavy cotton, and then I call the other cottons a batik. You have to use a little bit more glue because that glue will come off. The fabric will pop off the paper.
Does it matter the type of glue?
I actually really like the Yoo-hoo. Mostly for the cost purpose. Alright. I use 2 types of glue. One is for the paper piecing, which is the very first piece, and then the other glue is a fabric glue. And you'll be using the fabric glue pins quite a bit too. Alright. We're done with that. So now we're going to take all of our little pile here, and I have to stand up to do this. I can't do this sitting down. And we're going to place the very first piece, and I'm just going to show everybody, including Judelle. So we're going to line the fold template right up with the solid line. Do you see that? Can you guys see what I'm doing? All right. You know I know what I'm doing. You might not know what I'm doing. Okay? Up with the solid line. the solid line. All right, we got everybody. All right, then we're going to place the fold template on there. We're going to fold back, and we're going to add a quarter ruler, and then we're going to borrow a rotary cutter. All right, and then we're going to leave it folded back and move it right over there and stack it. Then we're going to take the next piece, fold back, trim, and then we're going to stack. And we're going to take the next piece, place it on the solid line, put the add a quarter on, trim the excess, and stack it over here. And we're going to do that again. All right. Since I'm demoing, I'm only going to do 4 pieces. And I'm going to leave the rest of the pile for Elise.
Yay!
All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this star unit. Actually, I'm going to pick up this piece, and I'm going to open up the paper, and I'm going to place this fold template along the solid line and then move it over to that dashed line right there. And then I'm going to crease my paper. And then I'm going to fold it back. And I'm going to mark where I creased it. And so this area, this is my star. Right here, where I've got the yellow. And I have to have fabric under that. So you guys have to find where you got that next piece of fabric is going to be positioned. All right? And then we're going to pick up this little pile right here, and we're going to place this. It tells us what the sew side is. There's my sew side, so that's going to be that position. And I'm going to match the sew side up with this edge right here, the trimmed edge, and that's just going to sit right underneath there. And I have to make sure that I have fabric past that side of the paper and past where I folded back and put that mark. Okay? So as long as the fabric falls underneath this little diamond right here, it's going to sew on and fit. Okay. All right? Then we're going to take the next piece, place it on here like this. And because I know that I can use the edge of my paper as a guide, then I can actually lay this down. And as long as I look at this and make sure I'm right along the edge, I'm on over here. Okay? And then we're going to take the next piece. We're going to place it on here like this. And then we're going to lay that down there right along the edge there. And then we're going to take the next piece and place it like this. If I have 100 of these to do, then I would set up all 100 pieces and I'd keep going. And one of the ways you can do a whole bunch of them is by taking a piece of paper. You have just yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I could actually, when I got my table full and I didn't have any more room, I could take a piece of paper, lay this on top like this, and start a new stack up there like that. And then when that was full, another one. And that way, if I have to do 100 of these, I can do all 100 of them at the same time. All right? So, one of the things that happens to a lot of beginners, do you have a glue pen with you? You do. I like Gretchen right now. I'm staying here. Fine. So, you take a glue pen for a beginner. Now, for me, I would not use the glue pen, okay? For most of you, once you figure out how to pick this up, and you're not going to use the glue pen because this just isn't necessary. But for beginners, you can take this glue pen, and I can pick this up and put just a little bit of glue inside along the edge of that. That way, when I pick it up and take it to my machine, I don't have to worry about that fabric moving. All right? But this is a small enough piece that the glue pen really isn't necessary for this little of a piece. All right? Now I'm going to pick this up. And I have my machine setting here. And on this machine, I'm going to downsize my stitch to about a 1.7. It says 1.7 because it reads 1.7. I'm using an Orfill thread, which has a pretty tight stitch, which is what we need with the Orfill. Alright, and we're just going to start sewing. And we're going to sew right on that line. And when I get to the edge, I'm going to pick up the next piece. And we're going to open it up. And we're going to put this right underneath there like that. Just pull it back a little bit. And the way I pulled that back is I had to push on this to release the tension. Alright, so now I can start sewing again.
Are you sewing completely off the paper?
On this one I am, because it's so close. You know, you only have about this much, it's going to tear anyway. So, and then we're going to pick up the next one. And all we're doing here is playing follow the leader. I'm going to take the next piece. Now the object for paper piecing is to sew on the line. That's why we have the lines there. None of this weaving back and forth.
I haven't had any wine yet. I'm good.
Alright, so now we're going to take this and we're going to cut apart the threads in between. And then we're going to go to the iron and we're going to iron those pieces. This way you only have to get up to the iron every once in a while instead of every 2 minutes. If you're doing 100 of them, and then we just press that open. Then we're going to take the next one, press it open.
The one that you're doing. Those
The next one, press it open.
but it's the same unit.
And notice how as I'm pressing these, I'm keeping these stacked nice and neat. Alright, so then we can take these back over here. And now we're going to lay them on my table like that. We're going to pick it up, flip this over. We're going to place the fold template on line 2. Alright, because we have what we call floating points, we've sewn all the way off the paper, so in order to get this to fold back, I have to rip that. Okay, don't worry about it tearing like there, right there. It makes no difference. Place the out-of-quarter roller on there, and we're going to trim. Okay, and then we're going to set this one aside. And then we're going to take the next one, fold the fabric with it, and then grab the tail on the fabric, tear it back. And then we're going to stack it. And then we're going to take it, tear it, stack it. And stack. Okay, so now we're going to come back over to this pile right here. And we're saving those or we didn't use yet, so we're going to grab this piece. And we only need one off of this one. Right, we're going to bring those up. This is my sew side right here, this edge. So all I have to do is pick this up and lay that triangle right there on top of the fabric and match up the edge. Alright? So we can tell that I have fabric this side and this side of the triangle on the paper. Right? And now we're going to take that, get rid of that piece of paper, put the next triangle on, stack it, the next one, stack it, next one, and stack it. Right? And if you had to glue, then you could glue it. If you're not going to glue, then what you're going to do is just take this, bring it over to your machine, pick it up and hold on to it with your fingers, place it down, and then open up the paper. Never take your finger off of it. And then you're going to sew on that line. Then we're going to take the next one. next one. The next one. Now we're going to take all these, cut in between them. And then we're going to press. And now we have our pieces and they're ready to trim. We have 4 of them done. And how many more do we have to do?
A lot.
48. Alright. So now you're going to take the rotary cutter and let's see if I can do it sitting. I can't. So we're not going to cut sitting down. We're going to go